Let's talk about the difference between change and progress. Something that you will hear all the time nowadays is the common cliche: the only constant is change. Now, as with everything else, not all change is created equal. And in my experience, not all change actually leads to progress. Leaders who are worth following know this and are always intentional about any change that they are advocating for or that they are leading. They're always looking at and talking about the progress that the change will lead us towards. Their focus is always around how will this help us move towards the goal that we are trying to achieve. For example, if there is a reorg being initiated, should actually lead to a change in the behavior for everyone who is impacted by the reorg. Now, if you are if your experience is anything like mine, generally is not the case. So if the behavior of the people affected by the reorg doesn't change on the ground, then I believe that the entire initiative and the entire reorg is not driving any progress at all. It is just change for the sake of change, which in a few more months will most likely lead to another reorg and another reorg and another reorg. That's what you see in really large corporations, where every few months, every few quarters, there is a reorg being initiated again. No progress because on the ground, things don't change, neither for the employees, nor for the partners, nor for their vendors, nor for their customers. Same thing happens with strategy. So if there is a change in your corporate strategy or your go-to-market strategy or your marketing strategy, and it doesn't lead to a change in the behavior of people on the ground, moving the organization towards a goal that we are trying to achieve, and the interactions with the customer, partner, vendor doesn't change meaningfully, that particular change in strategy does not lead to any progress at all. And you will see another change in strategy coming your way soon enough, provided the business still exists. In some large multinational corporations where the product itself has created a lot of stickiness, you'll still be around, but maybe the change initiatives that you're trying to do will keep on rolling through. So we go on with any change initiative that people are leading. Question then is, why do so many change initiatives don't impact anything on the ground? And how can we avoid such change which does not lead to any progress towards the goals that we are trying to aspire for? Number one, most change initiatives, reorgs, change in strategy, etc., are rolled out so that the leader can feel a sense of control over the organization. They initiate these reorgs or these strategy changes by moving teams and leaders for better alignment and removing of silos. These usually don't create much impact at all, as these reorgs don't necessarily change the experience that the customers, partners, or vendors, both internal or external, have with the organization. And when you announce and lead change initiatives like that, with that purpose in mind, then of course they don't lead to any progress. Some change initiatives do not lead to any progress as they are managed poorly. It can be due to the way they have rolled out the change or how it was supported, whether or not the right stakeholders were involved in the process, which kind of led to resistance to change, and therefore the goal is not being achieved. Sometimes it could also be that the organization has become change averse simply because they've become numb to any change initiative because of their past experience. Organizational memory is real. So if you do a lot of change initiatives, which doesn't necessarily change what people do day in, day out, they will start seeing any new initiative that we roll out as leaders as one of those new ideas, which is the flavor of the month kind of a feeling. And if they kind of waited for long enough, this flavor will change, and then the next flavor will come in, and which again will not impact anything that they do. And so nobody changes. And so the change initiative does not necessarily lead to the progress that the leader wanted to achieve. So, if we really want to become leaders worth following, we need to understand this key distinction between change and progress. Now, I mean, the question then arises, what, how do we define progress? I define progress as any change or any activity that increases the velocity of progress towards achieving our organizational goals or improving the probability of achieving them. So there are two key words here. One is the velocity and the other is the probability. What do I mean by velocity? It means the speed at which we can achieve the goal and the direction. The speed and direction when put together, and speed and direction towards the goal, right? So that's the velocity part of the equation. And the probability part of the equation is, anything that can actually improve the probability of our succeeding is good change. It leads to progress. It minimizes risk. So what does that mean for us as leaders? We need to be looking at every single change initiative that comes to us. Sometimes we may not have an option but to go ahead and do the and propagate the change and implement the change in our organization because it's coming from the top. So we have to look at every one of these initiatives and find out what is the progress that this change initiative is designed to achieve, and figure out how is it that we can actually increase the velocity or improve the probability of that change by ensuring that everyone within the organization actually changes how they behave, how they work, how they show up. We, in order for us to do that, we need to be able to identify what this is, what is the change that everyone needs to bring in their own behavior, monitor it, and uh, celebrate it, and communicate it, and embed it within the organization that we lead, so that we are able to achieve the progress that the change was originally designed to create. Think about it. Take care.